Hello everybody, Raptor King of the West here, and today we are back in Minecraft Dinosaurs. And today, I think I've finally solved procrastination. At least in this Minecraft world, maybe not anywhere else. Oh, I did knock this off. I don't even remember what this was. Oh. I think it was exactly that one, actually. Perfect! Yep, as I said, I believe that I may have solved procrastination completely. 100% solved. See, I believe that we've finally hit enough ongoing projects in this world that by virtue of not working on one of those projects, the museum roof in this instance, I will then inherently have to, as required by the fact that there's so many active projects, I will have to work on one of the other ones. I will actually continue to progress on the projects that I have not completed. Now might be a good time to address my inventory, because... Oh, I should put my armor back on. Because there's some very noticeable things going on in here. Some of you might be able to piece together what those items mean, all considered together, considering how things usually run in this world when something like this happens. I'm talking very cryptically at the moment. When a baby dinosaur dies in fossils and archaeology, they don't drop any items. And so, a long time ago, right around the first time that a baby dinosaur died, I created the rule that if it was a baby, I would be allowed to cheat in the skull of the dinosaur to create a gravestone. If it was an adult and just happened to not drop the head, or I couldn't find the head, then I would not be permitted to cheat it in, and it would be a slightly more boring grave. Okay. I know exactly how it happened. I know how it happened exactly. I'm surprised that it happened. Our two pterosaurs are still sitting over here, or at least one of them is. I don't know where the pteranodon is, but I know the dimorphodon is here, and the dimorphodon has been told to stay. Our pteranodon's allowed to move around, because our pteranodon is a piscivore. Until you're big enough that you're not prey to the dimorphodon, or you're both tamed, because then I think that they won't fight each other if they're both tamed, the dimorphodon will have to sit. Because you attacked the pteranodon. Notice, the pteranodon is alive and healthy. The Quetzalcoatlus is not. What happened is that I set the dimorphodon to stay right here, actually. And I decided, well, since I'm going to need to move it over there later, and I'm going to need to move the Quetzy over, I'll set the Quetzalcoatlus to stay, which I set to stay right here, while I looked for the Pteranodon. The thing is that the Dimorphodon, while set to stay, was still moving. I don't know why, and the Quetzalcoatlus I had tamed by feeding some chicken. The Quetzalcoatlus was not moving. The Dimorphodon was still moving, and the Quetzalcoatlus drowned again. That's the second time I've had a Quetzalcoatlus drown. It's getting a little bit ridiculous. So, as per the rules of the world, I get to create a grave to honor our fallen animal. Quetzy1. That's not how I do this. I'm forgetting how I make these graves. Hold on. How do I do this? How do I do this? We can check the Protoceratops enclosure. I think that's the other spot that I have or like the nearest other spot that I have a grave. There might be one in the Cetipati enclosure. We do have a non-negligible number of graves. It's not like a crazy high number, it's just one that can't be ignored. R.I.P. Protoceratops, the timeline, gone in the dust, which was specific for Protoceratops. They get different statements based off of how they died, or based off of their name, or something like that. I mean, it makes sense to me how I do this. R.I.P. Quetzy1 2025 to 2025. I don't think Quetzy1 made it to 2026. Lost in the deep. R.I.P. Quetzy2 2026 to 2026. See, when I read it like this, it at least hides the fact that the number is 1 day for Quetzy2. Quetzy1 made it like a couple of weeks. Forever fishing. Great. 2 more graves. Ha ha ha. It's funny, right? This is comedic. No, it's so, I don't know. In theory, okay. I'm not removing the lake in the pterosaur habitat because what's gone on is kinda... The first time wasn't my fault. There was a bug in the mod where pterosaurs would not prevent themselves from drowning. That was an actual noted bug that the devs have since patched. So the first time Quetzy died was not my fault. The second time Quetzy died, that was on me. So the third time, keeping in mind that the Dimorphodon is set to stay, so he's not going to move around, he won't cause us any issues. The bigger problem will actually be that I might need to make Quetzy stay so that Quetzy doesn't kill the Pteranodon. Which, by the way, is also our second Pteranodon, but we didn't get a death message for the first one. I don't know where that one went. I don't think it glitched out of its enclosure, it just seems to have vanished. I don't know. The aviary has been the source of a lot of problems thus far. But the one thing I will never understand is what happened to the first Pteranodon, because there was no death message, no loot. It was there for maybe a day, but I don't want to make a missing person sign for every dinosaur that goes missing. Yet. It could be a fun thing to have in one of, like, the medical buildings, is like a list, or in Jurassic World, they have the ACU. We could have a building like that for the Rangers. A place to, like, bring assets that escaped. That's an idea. Yeah, let's do the Quetzy egg now. I would say, hey, guys, feel free to suggest names for the Quetzalcoatlus. I don't know, man. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't name the Quetzalcoatlus for a bit. Maybe we name everything else first, because, wow, this has been a rough go for the Quetzalcoatli. I don't know. Would the plural for Quetzalcoatlus be Quetzalcoatli? I know that that's dependent on whether or not the root of the word is Greek or Latin and stuff like that. I don't know what all the rules are for that specific thing. If you do know, feel free to leave a comment. If you don't know, I'm actually not that worried about it, so don't feel like you have to research it or something. If I'm, like, really curious, I'll look into it. But for now, you know, I'm not too worried about it. I do wish that this counted as natural water so that fish would spawn in it, like, or if I could set the biome to river, would be nice. But without cheating that, I don't think I can. Unless there's a Minecraft bug that lets you do that. If there is, someone's discovered it, and they probably play on SciCraft. There's gotta be a way to do that. I know there's a way to force reset chunks, but I don't know if that's patched in 1.20.1. It might be. Alright. Quetzy number many. I'm just gonna trust that that Pteranodon's not gonna drown itself. Alright, Quetzy 3. Hopefully we got a better name for you than that. As long as you make it to like 5, I think it's safe to name you. You're brown this time. We haven't seen a brown one in a while. Male. Alright, if you guys would like to suggest a name for Quetzy number 3, I'm gonna be honest, if no one suggests a name by the time I get to Quetzy number 3, I might just name it Quetzy 3. Quetzy the Third. Okay. Now for what I actually wanted to do this episode, because believe it or not, even though we're 12 minutes into the video, my plan was not just get Quetzy the Third back, or at all, I guess would be the statement there, but it was to work on the aviary, which I have been ignoring. I don't know how tall I want this anymore. At one point, I had a number in mind. I no longer have a number in mind, but I do have a plan for the roof. Here, let's do this like this. I have a plan in mind for the roof if we get to that today. Which we might not, I don't know. I've done this all out of order is the problem. Normally I end out the episode by getting our new dinosaur or pterosaur, but in this instance, it was very, very not new. This is the 3rd time this has happened. It's a little bit absurd. Apparently I'm not good at taking care of pterosaurs. Oh, and I still need to paint more signs. Need to repaint the City Patty sign too. I think I'll do the sign painting off camera, because if I do it off camera, I can add a lot more detail and do a lot more colors and stuff, versus if I do it on camera, I'm sort of limited by time. It would be like one episode is just making one, and it would still be a hour and a half long episode. Maybe I could make the sign making into like a short form content thing. I've done a couple YouTube shorts, but they've just been like, I've done 2, actually, exactly 2, and they've both been the exact same. One of them was the Cetipati enclosure, and just all the dinosaurs living their lives in there. And one of them was the dodo enclosure, and all the dodos living their life in there. And it is really fun short-form content, and it's nice, it's calm, it's not actively killing people's attention spans. It's just nice. And that's mostly, if I do short-form content, it's probably going to mostly be that. But, for some reason, we are freezing. I don't know why. But maybe if I do the paintings, I could record and then edit that down into like a footnotes of the process of making the paintings, so that you guys see how I did it. That could be fun. I don't know. I'll think about it. If you guys like the idea, let me know. If you have any other ideas, let me know. Communication is encouraged here. I like to hear what you guys think. Oh, I forgot to look into dinosaur news. Oh, I'm annoyed at myself. I said last episode that I was gonna do that, and then I forgot. I apologize. I apologize. I wish I had done that. Would have been fun. I can talk about some old dinosaur news. It's a couple years old, but some people might have not heard about it yet. They've discovered another semi-aquatic dinosaur. Right? I think we all famously know, like, Spinosaurus is semi-aquatic. Some people might know, like, Baryonyx, Irritator, Suchomimus. Those are all semi-aquatic as well. Some people might know about those. And then they discovered a new, smaller semi-aquatic dinosaur called Natovenator Polyodontus. If I remember correctly, it was like 45 centimeters tall. Might have been height, it might have been length. Again, it's been a while since I read about Natovenator. It's really cool. It's probably one of my favorite dinosaurs. Actually, that might just be a flat statement. It might be one of my favorite dinosaurs. Natovenator, really cool. Really awesome name, too. I mean, Natovenator, that is a solid name. Really, it is. But yeah, no, I believe it had a sickle claw, and it would, it fished. It was a piscivore, so it only ate fish, which is very nice. I'm sorry, hold on 1 second here. I want to see if I have... Do I have it? Yes, I do. Aha. I have this sitting on my phone. Okay. 45 centimeters long. About 35 centimeters tall, roughly. I don't think anything I read actually came with the height. I'm pretty sure I calculated that out myself, so take it with a grain of salt. It had the sickle claw that a lot of other raptors had. And then a lot of the paleo art from the time that it was discovered depicted it in a way similar to swans or geese. And it was actively fishing. If I pull this back out, I believe it had little tiny teeth that would really only help it grip onto the fish that it was catching more than it would help it eat it. And so I think the suggestion is that the feathers that it had would have been more helpful for like, it's aerodynamics, but not necessarily for air, for water. I feel like there's a word for that. It basically, the idea is that the feathers would have been more helpful for its swimming than warmth or anything else. Like, obviously, the feathers would help for warmth. Just about all feathers did to some degree. And depending on the habitat of Natovenator, which I do not know off the top of my head, it could have needed some warmth. I believe it was late Cretaceous, but I'm not sure about that. So don't quote me on that. Do not quote me on most of the stuff I'm saying here. It is from memory, from back when Natovenator was, like, properly published, I guess would be the word. 2023 is when I have the photos from. So, 3 years ago. I am trying to recall things from over 3 years ago. So, take it with a grain of salt. It might not be perfectly accurate. I will try to link something in the description below for any of you that want to read more about Natovenator. I don't know. I'm trying to remember it all, and obviously I can't guarantee that I'm remembering it all correctly, but I don't know. It's a really cool one. I don't even think it's in debate about that one being semi-aquatic. I think that one's pretty widely accepted, because I think all of them are widely accepted now. There used to be debate on whether or not Spinosaurus was semi-aquatic. And then Irritator and Baryonyx and Thechomimus, their semi-aquaticness was based off of Spinosaurus' semi-aquaticness. But if you look up Natovenator and just look at some of the paleo art for it, which admittedly it is paleo art, right? It's not like we're looking at an image of the actual animal, so it could be wrong. But a lot of the interpretations, it just looks like a swan with a tail, or a goose with a tail. It really just looks like a bird. It does. And that is really, really cool. So yeah, Natovenator. Probably... Oh, we survived. Let's not do that risky jump again. Natovenator, probably one of my favorite dinosaurs. It is so cool. It really is. I would love to see a day when it gets added to this mod. I don't expect to see any new dinosaurs until they do the archaeology update. But if they do add more dinosaurs anytime soon, and if by some off chance the fossils and archaeology devs are watching this, which I know they probably aren't, but if by some chance they are, this is my pitch. Please add in Natovenator Polyodontus. It is such a cool dinosaur. It's really awesome. And it's adorable, and it's pet-sized. You could feasibly house that as a pet. And it's super awesome. It's super awesome. So you guys should add it into the mod. Yeah. That's my whole pitch. As you can see, it's a very good pitch. No reason to go against it. Yeah, I'll be very happy to see Natovenator in the mod sometime ever. Please. It's such an awesome dinosaur, it really is. I want to see Natovenator in this mod. I don't know when I'll see it, but I would like to see it one day. Obviously, they're working on the archaeology update right now, so I'm not expecting to see anything new added in anytime soon, and I have a feeling that realistically, unless they are actually, for some reason, watching this video, Natovenator is probably a far ways away. There's a lot more dinosaurs that are a lot more popular or well-known, and even sometimes they don't really care about how popular or well-known a dinosaur is, or even if it's a dinosaur. We got Pastasuchus. We are hurting for Triassic dinosaurs. I could see Herarosaurus or Coelophysis realistically being what they add in next, if I'm being perfectly honest. But it would be really awesome if it was a Natovenator Polydontus. That would be super duper awesome, and they should do that. What went there? Did I lose an item that I forgot about? I know I lost some items. When did I lose items? Am I crazy? That was a while ago. It was too many. Okay. Please. Ha ha ha. Yes. Okay. Let's move up temp to be probably 94. Nope, it was 95. I was close. How tall does this look? I kinda just want to keep going. Like, it doesn't... Okay, if I put the roof on and the roof is like a little bit triangular and it ends like there, that's not that tall. I want this thing to feel very tall, to the point that I want to put in some islands that like cut into the windows and seem almost like floating islands. So I say we should keep going. I think we should keep going. Apparently, I've only been recording for 30 minutes. Feels so weird doing the egg so early on in the episode. This gives me time to... I mean, I prefer doing the egg later in the episodes. Feels like, you know, then it's what we're building towards. It's the climax of the episode. But, you know. It's alright. We can do it early. That one deserved to be early, because it was the Quetzal again. So many times as that Quetzalcoatlus died. Maybe it was the blue. Maybe the blue was bad luck. I don't know why the blue would be bad luck. That would be really weird, but maybe the blue was bad luck. Maybe now that it's the brown Quetzalcoatlus, it'll survive. Again, I don't think the color's affecting anything. Neither of them can camouflage in the enclosure that I gave them. But, you know, it's fine. It's totally fine. Excuse me. Alright. We are running low on glass. I'm running low on shovel durability. Sticks. I'm gonna need to go mining for diamonds again soon. I forget that I can't always just jump down that. Because I think like 90% of the time I just jump down that, don't I? Reckless abandon. Very reckless. It killed me, even. It's that reckless. I know. Crazy. You guys can go there. You can go there. I don't really care. Yep. Okay. My inventory is a mess. So, about as it is normally. What the frick was I trying to craft? What was that? We don't have daggers in this mod. Actually, we do have a dagger in this mod, but it requires a Tyrannosaurus tooth. And I don't want to see Cleopatra die. I still need more name tags. I need more name tags. I wanted to name a dinosaur this episode. Oh, what dinosaur did I want to name? I probably didn't even have a name idea for them, realistically. Sand collection. Yep. Dangerous area to be in. Okay. We are really decimating this environment here. Okay. I apologize. I want to figure out, what did I want to name? Oh, it would have been... Is that the Dimorphodon? I did not have a name idea for the Dimorphodon. Dimorphodon is next on the list for me coming up with a name for. So unless one of you suggests a name for the Dimorphodon, I will try and have it named next episode. Though, I think I said that I was going to name it today, and I also said I was going to have dinosaur news to talk about today. And I forgot to do both of those things, so instead you got to hear me stumble through talking about how cool the Natovenator was, but with loose facts that I don't quite remember. This is a good opportunity for me to teach the younger members of my audience to always fact check things, because even unintentionally, people do get things wrong. For example, everything I said with the Natovenator is based off of my memory from about 3 years ago. And, well, I absolutely love the dinosaur, and my memory isn't particularly terrible. That does not mean that it is not worth fact-checking me, even if you trust me as a source, because I do usually give fairly reliable information here. I do still get things wrong. And so, it is worth fact-checking, checking around a couple of sources. If I remember, I will link in the description below a source talking about the Natovenator Polyodontus, so that you guys can actually read about it. If you want to fact-check me with your own source, go ahead. I encourage all forms of research. But yeah, no. Fact-checking. Something good to teach the younger members of my audience, and honestly, for some of my older members, the reminder probably isn't a bad thing. Sometimes we forget that it's a good idea to fact-check what people say. Continuing to decimate this ecosystem beyond any form of recognition. It's never going to recover. I feel like whatever we build here next, we have to commit to the idea that this will never recover as a natural place. And as I said before, the problem is that it's actually not that far away. We have the museum, or home to the museum, like there's the Arctic outpost. I want to have the monorail system between summer and here, which means that it is entirely feasible that we do eventually get out here. Especially if we never have to restart the world like I did for this one of the updates. If the version jumps remain small enough that we can continue on with this world, mostly just the idea that like they don't entirely overhaul the item ID system, which I don't see Mojang doing anytime soon. As long as they don't overhaul item IDs again, then we shouldn't have to change worlds. So as this world continues on, and as they update and add new things, and as we build bigger and cooler projects, eventually I think we will reach out here. And when we do, yeah, I really don't know what could go out here. You know, it obviously can't be natural. Maybe it's a power plant for whatever is out here. Power plant would be interesting to build also out there. I feel like we could have more than one power plant. Maybe at different sizes. This could be like a really big one. Or maybe this is like a very experimental testing sites for... I don't know what it would be for. Like, there's not going to be mutants or hybrids added to the mod ever. And even if there were, I don't think I would want them. Like, obviously, if it gets added to the mod, I'll probably create an enclosure for it. And I want to have an enclosure for the Phallosaurus. So obviously there is room for me to do stuff like that. And maybe that's what out there ends up being, is it ends up being like a lab that was abandoned because of an infestation of Phallosauruses. I want to have some hallways in the main lab that have been like shut down and are under lockdown because of Phallosaurus. Maybe we could have something like that out there, but for the whole lab and with like a free roaming dinosaur or two. Like, it's just a lab where something went really, really wrong. That could be a fun idea. Then we can really get away with the whole desolate, unnatural sort of vibe, because it is very desolate, it is very unnatural, and even the unnatural thing has been, being the building, has been decimated by the hubris of the scientists, I suppose. I don't hate the idea. It's a fun idea. I'll workshop it a bit more. But I think there is a concept there to work with. Or alternatively, we could have like a black market for dinosaurs, and we set it up to be more like a bunch of shops with roads in between, so then we would have had to terraform it all anyway. So in a situation where you have to terraform a bunch anyway, actually starting off with a flat slate's not too bad of an idea. And then we set up a black market for dinosaurs, and we kind of start building a story in our world, which is fun. I don't know. I don't hate either of the ideas. I'm actually kind of leaning towards the black market idea. I don't know why that one's calling to me a little bit more. But it is. We'll see what I end up doing when the time comes. I think we got a decent bit of time before we have to worry about what I do with that section over there. Alternatively, I could make torches, but I need this coal for cooking, so... Oh, there's coal over here. Might as well get it. Before we go, do these two veins connect? No. That's not my pickaxe, that is a sword. You know, one thing I realized about the scarab pickaxe and the scarab tools that might make it worth having a netherite set as well, because I think I mentioned in the past that I'll probably just do the scarab set and not have a netherite set. I did not think about the fact that scarab tools probably still burn in fire. And that's not something I want to test, because scarab gems are what we call a very rare resource. I know they made them more common, but it is still its own achievement called winning the lottery. That used to be like a 1% drop. I know it's gone up, and like the odds have gone up a little bit, and they made it less of an achievement. But it is still majorly rare. Who would have thought? Alright. How long have I been recording here for? 40 minutes? Hopefully I'm not getting sick. I seem to have a little bit of a cough. I'm sure it's nothing. Alright. And now we have a glass factory. At least for a little while. Eventually this will all run out, of course. But until then, glass factory. No, that was the right chest. That was it. Second guessing myself. Yeah. No, I want this to not look square. I want it to look definitely rectangular. All of our dinosaurs are starving, and I do need to make the chicken farm a little bit more efficient, because the problem is I'm eating from it, and the dinosaurs should be eating from it. Right now they're not, because I don't have any feeders set up. Yeah, we should set up feeders at some point. At some point, we need to do that for all the carnivores, really. The herbivores have the ferns, which is nice. The carnivores don't have anything. So we need to have feeders for them. But, yeah. It's definitely... I just need to get as many chickens into that 1x1 area as possible. Which makes me wonder... DNA. Chicken, chicken, chicken. Raw chicken. Feathers! Ha ha ha! Eggs. 75% chance of air. 25% chance of Dinosaurs flesh can get you literally anything. Okay. Then I guess if I just start throwing the feathers in the analyzer and I get the DNA, I can get guaranteed chicken eggs and just absolutely fill that 1x1 area. And then download a resource pack to make chickens quieter, because that farm is already unbelievably loud. But yeah, no, I think, because then we can get that to top efficiency. And if I really wanted to, I could get a second chicken chamber and just connect the hoppers together and make it even more efficient. Because look at how many feathers I have. Look at how much parrot DNA this might get us. We have currently no parrot DNA, so actually that would be welcome, because for the achievement, we also need to do all of these, I believe. I might be wrong, but we'll find out. We also don't have coelacanth DNA yet, which if we did... Oh, yes we do. We have 4 coelacanth DNA. I should make a tank for the coelacanths on the next floor of the lab. If you've ever seen the Disney movie Atlantis, how the main... I don't want to spoil it. Like, spoil anything. What, like, the boss character that you see at the start of the movie, he has a bunch of coelacanths in a tank behind his desk. I think that would be a cool thing to do for one of our mobs' offices. We have a bunch of creatures out here. People creatures. Who would like an office like that? We have the moosh room. Somewhere we have another moosh room, I think. I think they're starting to migrate down we have the sheep. Sheep's always an option. I think a couple of the animals are starting to migrate down. In theory, somewhere there's a couple of chickens. There's a frog on the roof. I feel like the frog would like that office, actually. But yeah, no, I think something like that would be pretty cool. Apparently I don't know when I'll do it, because apparently I don't get an office in the lab so far. I'll give myself one eventually, but for now it seems to not be happening. We could have a couple offices on that second floor. 2A, 2B, 2C. Or whatever the number system I decided on was. I don't actually know for sure. I think it was something like that. And then, yeah, we can have, I guess we could have one for, there were 3 frogs, I think. So we could have an office for each of the frogs on the same floor. Or we could have a couple of different, maybe the mushroom should get an office if I want to do, no, I want to do botany on the floor below. That's where I want to do the botany. So the mushroom will get an office on floor 3. And yes, although we are going down, the floors are counting up. This is because I don't want to have to change the signs every time I add a new floor. So instead, we're just going to vertically count sublevels. Because why not? No, actually, why not? Is there a single reason not to? Now that I think about it? Like, I think that's fine. That's what we're gonna do, because changing every single sign every time I add a new floor is just gonna be too much work. So, might as well make it easier on myself as I continue down. And eventually, that office will span into maintenance tunnels and transport tubes, I guess, probably something like that. Underground monorail. Is that just a train? That's a subway, isn't it? That's just a subway. But yeah, no, and then we can have underground places going to, like, remote labs hidden away in the forest, or entrances to the other dinosaur enclosures. Alright, well, 100 is a little bit of a drop. We're currently only on 99. But we still have a little bit of time to record. I think we can get up there. And then we'll check if I think that's tall enough. If I don't, then we will keep going. We will not stop until this is tall enough for my personal preference of how tall I think the aviary should be, so that I can do all my cool floating island things and whatnot. Some really fun ideas for, like, some vines connecting between them and stuff like that. And then it gives the pterosaurs some room to fly around and land on things, which I think would be good, because right now there's only a couple of platforms that our pterosaurs can land on. And we only really have the one pterosaur that actually takes advantage of flying on top of things, and it's just that the Dimorphodon flies on top of the Temschia. It doesn't even fly very far. Or, like, very high. So by having places for them to land higher up, then we'll see some more verticality in the dinosaurs, which in theory will also increase the max population size without making the whole thing feel more cramped, which will be good. Or even if it doesn't increase the max population size, we can see with stuff like the Cetipati enclosure, where yes, it does fit that whole population actually relatively comfortably, but it does start to feel a little bit cramped. Versus when we're playing with verticality like this, I think the cramped is going to be a lot less of an issue. And honestly, other than just making the enclosures ludicrously massive, I don't think there's anything we can do about the population thing. And, like, the enclosures feeling cramped. Because the max population that an enclosure can have in general is 15. And then as the enclosure gets smaller, it'll decrease, related to, of course, the size of the dinosaur. Like, the T-Rex enclosure would have a max population of 15 for the Cetipati, but I think it's, like, 2, maybe 4 for the T-Rex. And yeah, you could comfortably fit 4 in there, but it is going to look a little bit cramped. I don't really have a problem with it. It's a pretty good system, and it's fine that they got a little bit cramped. It is a lot better than how it was before, where they would just produce so many offspring that they would start glitching out of the enclosure. Especially Dinosaurs for some reason. I don't know why the Dinosaurs were always the ones that were escaping, but they were. So yeah, having the max population system is really good. I do like it. But sometimes, as I said, it gets to look a little bit cramped, so by playing around with having floating islands and branches and vines and stuff, we give the pterosaurs a lot of places to be without really changing the footprint of the enclosure. That was F5 I meant for free cam. See? The height is better. I think we can go higher still. I do think we can still go higher. How long have we been recording for, actually? 57 minutes. Yeah, no. I do think by the time that I collect everything to do another layer, that I'll probably have to call it. So I guess working on this more is going to have to be a future me problem. Or a future episode problem, potentially. I know I said I was going to do this off camera, but look at me now doing it on camera. Let's just check, because these all finished smelting. How much is this going to get us? Oh, that's a lot. That is good. That is very, very good. You know what we'll do? Oh, I don't have time. I was really hoping I'd have time. These are empty buckets. Okay. Somewhere along the edge, there is a singular bit of exposed water. I do not believe I will pull this off in any meaningful way. But as long as I don't die, I'm going to consider that at least a semi-success. But, where is it? Where is it? Come on. It's here somewhere. Okay. It went into the wrong slot. I could have pulled that off. I could have pulled that off. I cannot believe it. Oh, no. Now I'm going to want to do that again. Crazy how we're going to break into the enclosure. Wow, look at that. A convenient entrance. To be fair, that's kind of exactly what I want this area to end up getting used for anyway, so. And then, wow, 3 dripstone, perfectly removed. Where is our Quetzy? Yep, you're starving because I don't have fish. You're probably starving. No, you're okay. Where is it? Here you are. You're just laying there. You're hungry. You're 1. You've made it to 1. Guys, our Quetzalcoatlus has made it to 1. We've done it. Do they start at 1 or do they start at 0? Do you start at 1 or 0? I'm going to decide that you started at 0 so that we've accomplished something. With that being said, unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today, so I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I hope you have an amazing day, and goodbye.